All right, joining us now. He is very nice. 2020 Democratic presidential primary.
Know that.
Well, you've been shocking him with your discussions here that we don't need to repeat.
What?
Congressman Tim
I didn't
Ryan
hear
of
any of that.
Ohio.
I heard nothing.
I heard nothing.
Nothing.
Michael Steele, really?
Nah, I'm with Tim.
Okay, all right. So you've got the first question
Matlock,
for
I
Tim. then.
expected better of you.
All right.
No less than else, skit. So let's talk about your predecessor.
All right, so Joe is.
See? I'm no longer with Tim.
No, he's good. Listen, I got no problem saying he was a good friend. He was a nice guy.
Tim, you're on your own. Bro.
Yeah,
Tell
but I
everybody-
noticed that you scooted over there. Yeah,
tell
thanks,
everybody who
Michael.
your
Appreciate
predecessor
it.
was.
Congressman Tom Sawyer? No, Congressman Jim Traficant.
Jim Traficant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Traficant would go around, and he
That's a character.
called everybody Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
If you just got into Congress, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
So, Joe, Tim is running for president.
One time,
So-
he goes up on the floor and he says, "What is wrong with this picture?" And Ileana Ross Slayton yells out from the back of the chamber, "Your hair?" Because he had that hair.
Oh, my God, yes.
I remember. So he ran against me from prison. And Barney Frank, who's a very good friend of mine, had the best joke. He said you should set up a debate stage with 3 chairs, you, your Republican opponent, in that chair with the toupee in it.
That would have worked.
I said maybe not.
I love it. Maybe not. Well, your run for the Democratic nomination won't be quite as easy.
Colorful.
But how do you break through a field of 35, 40, 50 people by the end?
Focusing on what I think is the real national emergency in the country, and that's the struggles that everyday people are going through. I mean,
Are you the only candidate doing that?
Well, my focus is primarily on the economic and anxiety level of people, and that's what I'm hearing in the field, that they
Right.
like my message because that's what I'm talking about. I mean, it's not just the economic anxiety that's coming, that people, in the bottom 60% haven't seen a raise since 1980, but
Right.
it's taking its toll on people. People are exhausted.
Yeah.
The anxiety levels high around health care, the mental health issues.
So
the
you
addiction
understand
issues.
why people voted for Trump in 2016, right?
Totally get it. Totally get it.
Because a lot of your Democratic opponents don't. You understand why. Tell people watching this show why so many people across Ohio bolted in Donald Trump's direction after in 2012 Ohio was a solid state for Barack Obama.
He spoke directly to their anxiety. He spoke directly to their economic need, the fact that they haven't seen a raise, that they do struggle with health care. I mean, let's think about what he was campaigning on. He said, I'm going to open up the steel mills. I'm going to open up the coal mines. I'm going to get you back to work. I'm going to raise taxes on the top 1%. I'm going to expand health care for people. My goodness gracious.
Okay, great. So, yes, he said all of that, and we learned very quickly that he's lied.
Right. Then he torched the joint. So I think
the question is, so how do you get people who are now predisposed to vote for him again? Because they don't want to hear the lies from the media.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear the lies from the Democrats. They don't. Anything that is true, Donald Trump tells them is a lie, and many believe him. So how do you break that cycle?
Because he hasn't delivered. That's the reality of it.
How do you tell people he hasn't?
I don't have. All I have to do is say it. People who were the 1,700 workers at the General Motors plant that closed down in Lordstown, Ohio, they know that their life is not better.
We're at the gates. You're shaking hands. I'm a skeptic. I'm a Trump supporter. You have 1 minute while you're shaking my hand to tell me why my vote in 2016 was for the wrong guy and why I need to vote for you.
Or you might have 30 seconds.
What do you say?
We need an industrial policy in the United States.
What's that?
This has been going on for 40 years. That means we need to actually use the government, the tax code, every ounce of power we have in the United States as president to drive manufacturing back into the United States. There's going to be 30.
Can you bring my jobs back?
I'm not going to bring this job back that you've had. I'm going to bring the next generation of jobs. If you want promises about steel mills opening up and coal mines opening back up, you're going to vote for the wrong guy.
What about health care? My wife's got a job, and we like our health care. We got a doctor, but it's costing more and more. Like, what are we going to do about health care? You going to fix Obamacare? Because I got a kid who's 25 that doesn't have a job, and I want him to get insurance.
We need to have some public option for that worker, you, to go and get the appropriate amount of health care without getting
Are you going
completely.
to take my guns? Because all the
without
Democrats
getting
say they're going to
completely
take my guns.
squeezed.
Are you going to take my guns?
I'm not going to take your guns. I'd be happy to go hunting with you if you'd like to, because my son and I go hunting. But we do need reasonable background checks to make sure that criminals and terrorists.
What about
don't get
that
guns.
Omar lady? Does she like America? She doesn't seem to like America.
Well,
You
if
can't laugh at him because you've lost his
well,
vote.
I'm laughing at you.
being the Trump
Yeah.
supporter
No.
voter in Ohio.
Listen, let me tell you something.
It's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
Most Democrats that are running live in a bubble. You don't.
I don't.
Because you're from Youngstown, Ohio,
That's right.
and you get this. So
I get it.
This isn't just
That's
about
why he
you.
offered to go hunting.
I want other Democrats
Yeah.
that are running
Yeah.
to get it.
Yeah.
So what do you say when they go, that Omar lady, I see a lot of stuff on Fox News. She doesn't seem to love America, does she?
And this is the president's consistent attempt to try to divide the United States. Always find something, people of color, someone from
Right.
a different religion, to make fun of them, to
But she
prop
said
them
that
up and
stuff about
divide.
9/11.
But here's,
What about
here's the
that?
deal: if this president keeps dividing our country, you're never going to get your damn job back, because
Right.
we can't be united enough to get an economic policy together to actually drive investment into the United States, because we're so divided. We can't get anything done. That's the underlying problem. And the president throws gasoline on every cultural riff we have. You know who likes that, Joe? The Russians like that.
My
You know
name's
who
not
likes
Joe. My name's Pete.
Pete? You know what? You know who likes that, Pete? China.
Yeah.
China is cleaning our clock.
Okay, there you go.
I mean,
start with that.
Yeah. I like
yeah,
that.
I mean, well, you look. I mean, it's not a line. It's like they control 40% of the electric vehicle market. They control 60% of the solar panel market. You want to win the future and bring manufacturing jobs so you can go back into that factory and work.
Yeah.
You better have a national policy where we're united.
So we're Catholics. My family, we're Catholics. What about, like, I'm seeing all this stuff in the news about, like, babies that can be aborted at 9 months. Is that, like, that's wrong. What do we do about that? Are you gonna support that too?
Look, the reality of it is you got to protect a woman's right to choose.
Right.
This is a non-issue that
But
people are trying to.
when do you start protecting the baby?
When are we going to start talking about jobs in the United States?
Yeah, but you
when are
don't
we going
think
to
a
talk
baby
about
should be aborted
the guy
at
at the
9 months,
I'm
do
telling
you?
you right now, the guy at the factory gate's not asking that question.
Okay.
The guy at the factory gate, and you know it, but the guy at the factory gate is concerned about his job
Okay,
or
but he would be asking about
her job.
Representative Omar. You do think it's shameful what Donald Trump's been doing to Representative Omar, right?
Of course it's shameful, and we shouldn't be dividing the country. We shouldn't be propping somebody up. I read her speech. At the end, she talked about American values, about why she came to the United States.
Such
And look,
garbage.
look,
People should be ashamed for twisting her words the way they have. They should be ashamed, and the president should be ashamed for risking her life
Are
and the
you
life
Pete
of her
or Joe?
family.
got multiple personality disorder.
I've become
You gotta
Joe.
deal with this every day.
We got out of time.
It's all right, sweetie. It's been a long night.
No.
But here's the reality:
He can
if,
answer these questions, and that's
Democrats,
why he can win.
if Democrats can't speak to the struggle. People are tired of just getting by. They want to thrive. They want their kids to thrive. They want their community to thrive. And if Democrats, I have an agenda that's going to go into these communities, go into these schools. I mean, you look at what's happening in our country, Joe. We're not having the right discussions around anything at this point. We're talking about health care. 75% of healthcare costs come from chronic diseases that are largely preventable. Right. That is not even a part of the national conversation. Mental health and mental well-being in the United States. People, for 30 years, people have been struggling. It is taking its toll on people.
Okay, can I? So I work next to this guy. His name's Ricky Bobby.
I'm in role play now?
What are you doing with your hands?
Two first names.
That's Alabama, not Ohio. You're thinking of your folks down at Alabama.
I'll get it confused.
Yeah. Let me ask you about immigration, Congressman, because that's another question where I think a lot of
you will get that at the plant gate.
Probably in Youngstown say, I'm looking at a lot of these Democrats, and it seems to me like they want some kind of open borders. They want people to come in, illegal immigrants. But what about the compassionate side of it, where I don't want families separated? You know, asylum seekers should have a path to get into the country.
Totally.
What do you say to them in terms of balancing that compassion with actually having border security, having a country with borders?
I think you got to lead with security. We need to have a secure border. We need to know who's coming in and out of the country. I represent Ohio. We've got a terrible opiate epidemic, a lot of heroin. So we've got to be smart. But putting a wall up in the middle of the Rio Grande River is not the answer. Or sequestering people's property, eminent domaining their property to put a wall up doesn't make any sense. but we've got to be strong. 90% of the drugs are coming in through the ports of entry. They're coming in through the water. They're coming in through the United States Postal Service. The president is so distracted that he's forgetting how to really solve this problem. And we have to be strong on the border and have a compassionate, economically viable immigration path to citizenship for people, because it's good. Our diversity is our strength.
Well, I was going to ask you, so
and we
you
want to
believe-
welcome people here.
You believe a pathway to citizenship for people who come here undocumented or illegally is the way to go?
Absolutely. Get them out of the shadows, bring them in. And the president needs to focus. I think the president, quite frankly, is lazy. I don't know if you noticed, but the reality of it is, Joe, he gets his presidential daily briefing. This problem in Central America needs to be solved in Central America. We should be helping develop the economy there, the security
doing the
there.
opposite.
He's doing the exact
Right.
opposite. He's cutting the exact budget that is going to solve the problem in the first place. If the president's really doing his job, paying attention, that problem will be solved in Central America.
Little, Michael,
Yeah,
and
real
then I
quick.
got one.
So the responses you just gave to Joe or whoever
Yeah,
Joe was,
whoever
over here,
that is.
Pete, that works in a wonderful general election strategy. But you're running in a Democratic primary, and right now there seems to be this yin and yang over what the Democratic Party is. Are you a Democratic socialist? How do you reconcile that coming out of Pennsylvania with the values that you know the people there have? And how do you navigate this space with 20 plus people who seem to be pulling the party further to the left?
Well, most people in the party want to beat Trump, and I believe I can provide an opportunity to do that in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, winning those key states. But I believe even in a Democratic primary that really speaking to people's fears, their insecurities about the economic situation, their health care situation is something that is going to distinguish me, because I have real solutions that are going to help address this. Like no one really I've heard talking about our kids. What's happening? We need to get social and emotional learning into our schools. Over 50% of our public school kids live in poverty. They have all the adverse childhood experiences that come along with that. We are not giving them a hand up, and we've got to have innovative programs like social and emotional learning that go into the schools and practices that help these kids. And when you see a robust social and emotional learning program which connects a kid to the other kids in the school, connects them to their teacher, connects them to their community, it actually reduces their anxiety level.
I want to talk to you about that a lot more next time.
Okay.
The whole mindfulness concept that a lot of schools are putting in, and it's dead serious.
So it's 11 percentile point increase in test scores, 10% increase in good behavior, 10% decrease in antisocial behavior. This is transformational. This is going to be in every school. That,
all right, let's just make sure we've got to go. Got to check the boxes here. You definitely understand the Trump voter, but
Right. Ask that one.
Okay, have you ever wrestled an alligator?
Because Terry McAuliffe has.
Yeah.
I have not.
Oh, geez.
Sorry,
A bear?
I didn't.
A bear?
You know what?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I tell you what.
No.
This is your homework. Go
Forget it.
home.
I mean, I do
and watch
play-
semi-pro, and then come back.
It was
I do
going
play
so well.
lions
No.
with my 4-year-old son. I mean, does that count?
You're gonna need
Simba
to-
and Scar?
You're going to need to work on
Yeah,
that.
sorry.
Everything else is pretty good. But
I
that
thought you
was-
were going to
that
be the
was a
tough one
shame.
here.
All right.
Mika.
Congressman Tim Ryan.
Let's send him a clip of semi-pro.
And the other guys, if he wants to be Gator.
No.
For the,
And
yeah,
then
but then
semi-pro to
he's
wrestle
gotta
the bear.
wrestle
He
the
came
bear.
unprepared.
Is this the strangest interview?
I'm
you've had so
disappointed.
far?
I'm asking myself, what just happened? I was so excited to come on the show.
Welcome. Good morning, Joe.
Thank you.
Hey, so listen, are you around here much? Are you in New York much?
A little bit.
Okay, well, when
Yeah.
you come here in
Back. I wanna
Washington,
talk about that
we want to
education.
have you back as much as possible. By the way, we're going to make you the offer that we make every candidate when you're out on the campaign trail. Give us a call.
Okay.
Even if it's for a minute and a
I
half.
wanna
If
talk
you're in
about-
Iowa, if you're in New Hampshire, pick up the phone,
okay.
call us, say,
Great.
hey, I'm up here and da-da-da. Now, as you can tell, we never let anybody sort of just roll through their talking points when they're here, but we'll give you 90 seconds, free time, wherever you are. And if you want a longer interview, we'll start.
Oh, and I'm going to book
I'm going
this.
to Iowa today, so
Today,
I'll
so
see
tomorrow.
you tomorrow. I'll
Call
you.
us. So why don't you call us tomorrow morning?
Okay.
I'm serious. Wherever you are,
Okay.
and tell us because what we love to hear, and I know Michael knew it as a politician. You know it as a politician. The most exciting thing for me was when you knocked on people's doors. and they told you things that nobody was telling you on TV.
Right.
That's what we want to hear. Report from the field. What are people talking about?
Also gonna
We
send-
touched upon that at the beginning of this interview.
I'm going to
What-
send
yeah.
Dr. Dave Campbell to do a piece on you and do that whole social and emotional training for
terrific.
kids angle. So
Terri-
we're
we
gonna
are
line that
we
up.
are going to ramp this up.
I know,
I'm
I
telling you, this
love
is going to
that.
be
That's huge.
transformational for
All
our
right.
kids and prepare us for the
Next
future.
week he's coming to
And
see you.
after
Okay.
you do it for the kids, maybe you can do it for Mika.
I'm already,
Just teach
I'm
her some
CBT,
mindfulness. She
needs-
mindfulness focus. I need a lot of mindfulness.
You are in a constant state of
Trust
fight or flight.
Yep.
When it comes to
Very
job.
highly activity.
All right, guys.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Pod.
We'll be
in 2
back
minutes.
in 2
Alex is
minutes.
mad.
Alex is yelling at us again. Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.